Hey everybody, and welcome back. Today I am having a very special guest, my cousin actually, who just went keto not long ago, about 6 weeks ago, with her family. So she is going to be my interview for our month of keto in just a minute.
With every start, we are born again. Open your heart.
Hello everybody, I want to introduce you to my cousin. This is Amber. She is my sister from another mother and father. Yeah. We were, you know what? I don't even think I have my view right. I bet you that's the one. That's the one I want. I want it on gallery view. There, now everyone can see you and me at the same time. So she and I are almost exactly the same age. We grew up in the same town, and we are the only girl cousins that were anywhere close to each other. So we spent all of our time together growing up. So she has agreed to be my keto interview for this month, and I am super excited because she and her family actually are doing keto with us this month. So Amber, why don't you go ahead and tell me where you guys came from, where you are now, who all is doing it, everything.
Okay. So I had heard about keto basically from you a while ago. And before we did keto, you know, we tried veganism for a while. We always thought we ate really healthy because we ate vegetables but we ate a lot of sugar, you know, basically the standard American diet. We ate fast food and soda and whatever. And we had lots of aches and pains, lots of, I didn't realize at the time, but extreme anxiety, panic attacks, things that were happening that I didn't even know why it was happening. And what was kind of causing the underlying issues. And we moved to South Dakota in January, and it was winter, it was cold, we didn't know anybody, and I just baked and cooked, and I gained 30 pounds from January until May. Just overnight, it was crazy. And I was hurting really bad. My anxiety had gotten worse and worse. My husband was dealing with some health problems that he's still dealing with. You know, my son has a little bit of ADD, ADHD, just, you know, acne. I have 2 teenagers. They were having terrible acne. And I decided, I think after talking to you about keto for a while, I was like, well, let's just try keto. So when we went vegan, we all went vegan. Mm-hmm. Kids, me, Lance, my mom, everybody. And then when we went keto, we just were like, okay, well, let's just all do it together. So my husband, my daughter, my son, and both my parents, my mom and my dad. And the only way I was able to get my dad on board was I was like, you can eat bacon, you can eat steak, you can eat butter, you can eat meat, you can eat good stuff. There's a lot you can eat. And basically my daughter was going to be gone to camp all summer. So we're like, okay, we're all going to do keto. We started at the end of June. So we're about 6 weeks in, and I've lost 26 pounds in 6 weeks. The kids have lost a little bit of weight. They didn't really need to lose weight, but they still have lost, and they're feeling better. Their acne has cleared up 100%. My anxiety has come down, I'd say 90 to 95%. We're all sleeping better. You know, my dad's lost 25 pounds, which is amazing. Both my parents were on blood pressure medicine and water pills, and they've both been able to get off that completely. And their blood pressure is just perfect, and you're talking 10, 15 years of being on blood pressure medicine, totally off in 6 weeks. It's truly amazing. So it's been really fun to do it all together, you know, and then we're all eating the same, and I'm not making different meals. We're all buying the same groceries. It's been really wonderful.
That is so amazing to have your whole family, not just your partner, but your entire family doing it with you. I did an interview, and that's going to be going up in October, and it's Steak and Butter gal, Isabella Ma, and she's been doing carnivore by herself.
Yeah.
For years, completely by herself. You know, her partner just ate normally. Her family thought she was crazy, but she stuck with it. And now her partner is actually doing it with her. And she's like, it's so different. She goes, I had no idea. Yeah. And so that's amazing that your family is doing it with you and that they have seen such incredible results as well. So, because when, you know,
My family.
Hello.
My son.
Yeah. So because I only had to be keto by myself for 12 hours. And then Richard figured out how much he was eating and he was like, sign me up too, whatever. So I've had the support from day one, which is a huge blessing. So one question that I wanted to ask, which I, won't be able to ask anyone else. What did you think about me when you heard that I was keto? And what did you think, when I was telling you, it fixes everything and it's so amazing? And
I thought you were crazy. I was like, she's crazy. There's no way that food can make you anxious. There's no way. Because I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to think of, because I liked sugar. I liked grains. I loved bread, pasta, potatoes, every meal. Like my husband would sit down, huge plate of pasta. And I would be like, hey, that's a lot of carbs. We just don't need bread. We're eating pasta, And he's like, where's the bread? That's how we lived. And so when I figured out, and the way that I really figured it out was when we went keto, we ended up going and doing an exception meal at my daughter's camp that she was working at. And I was like, well, I'm just going to have, the chicken and the salad, and the chicken was breaded. And I hadn't had any gluten. I hadn't had any wheat in like 2-3 weeks. And within 2 hours, I had a major anxiety attack and a horrific migraine. And that was enough. I was like, okay, that is 100% proof to me that this food is causing these problems. It is absolutely 100% causing these problems.
Yeah.
So it was like a light bulb.
Yeah, that was your click. It's like, okay, this isn't a fad.
No.
There's so much more to it. And you told me actually about a documentary that I had never even heard of that you watched. And that's really what kind of solidified it for you guys. So how did you find out about that?
Trying to think. I think we were just like, so part of our keto thing, I also started doing 75 hard, which is a great challenge. I know it's not for everybody. I've kind of pooped out a little bit because I'm on like day 46, but we had some stuff happen this week that I'm like, if I don't get my second workout in, it's not a big deal, whatever. I'm doing it for the personal development. And so part of that was you have to read 10 nonfiction pages a day. So then we're like, well, if we're reading nonfiction, we should probably be watching nonfiction and like watching some documentaries. And so we were just on Amazon and I put in keto documentaries or something, and fat fiction popped up. And it's, Mark Hyman, I think Dr. Mark Hyman, there's a bunch of keto doctors that talk. And literally Lance and I watched the documentary, and we were both furious at the end. We were furious. Because we were like, we've been lied to our whole life. We've been lied to by the government about what we should be eating. And it's based on a lie. I know that may not be popular. People probably are like, whoa. But so it really opened our eyes, and we were like, this is ridiculous. We're not going to keep, we saw the cycle. Like when you eat that way and then you get the health problems, and then you take the drugs that create more health problems, and you keep, it's just this vicious circle that never ends.
Oh yeah. It's for us, I think it was Fat, a documentary. So real similar to it. And I think that that's one thing that a lot of people who try to go keto, they don't continue their education.
Yeah.
They think, okay, if I just do this thing, then I'm going to get better. But they don't do it with their whole being because they think we're crazy, and they think, oh, there's no way, because you guys tried it once.
Yeah, we tried it for like 10 days. We lost weight, but then we just quit.
Yeah, because life happens, but you didn't have that backing of we've been lied to. And once it makes sense, and once you really start to research, and I'm trying to really get this point across to people, is you got to advocate for yourself.
Yep.
You got to continue your education.
Yeah.
Like, because I can tell you things all day long, but yeah, until you know for yourself and you experience it, you think that other people are crazy.
Yeah.
Because I remember, and I heard someone say this the other day, and I thought, this is brilliant. She said, I'm that person that if you say, oh, I've got aches and pains in my joints, I'm going to say, have you tried keto?
Yeah.
They say, I've got migraines, and I'm going to say, have you tried keto?
Yeah.
They say, I've got excess weight. I'm going to say, have you tried keto? And she goes, I know it sounds crazy, but once you've been in this space for long enough, you can't unsee what I've seen.
Yeah.
And so to keep quiet feels like more of a sin.
Yeah.
Than to go out there and shout it to everybody, try keto.
Yeah.
Because it really is life altering
for
many people. So what about your kids? They're doing keto with you. Are they looking forward to the day that they can move out and be done with mom's crazy keto?
Honestly, I don't think they are at all. Because we've tried to educate them too. And instead of, I've told them, I'm like, hey, if you're out with your friends and they order pizza and you want to have a piece of pizza, go ahead. You can do that. I'm not going to tell you not to. I am going to tell you, pay attention to how you feel afterwards and the days afterwards. And Victor experienced that because we went to the pool and with friends and I think he got like an ice cream sandwich or something. And then they wanted to go to Subway because their friend was working. So we went to Subway and he got just a 6-inch sandwich, didn't even get chips or anything. And the next day he just felt horrible. He was sluggish. He was slow. He was lazy. He didn't want to do anything. And I said, okay, just let that be a lesson that you remember. I'm not going to tell you not to do that stuff. You're not going to eat it at home because we're not going to buy it. I'm not going to cook it. We're not going to make it. But you get to choose when you're out and about with your friends and running around and then learn from that. So, my thought is, they may not. And if they don't, that's fine. They can do whatever. But they both are excited about it and they like it. They like what we're cooking. I love to cook and I cook all the time. We eat at home all the time because we're an hour from any city. Mm-hmm. So we don't go out to eat anyway. And I found such great substitutes, not substitutes. They're just, this is how we eat now, but we've got keto cookies. We got keto cupcakes. We got bread. We've got stuff that replaces the things that we used to eat, like those egg wraps. Mm-hmm. Try those.
Egg life wraps.
Tortillas. Yeah, they're so good. So I don't think they, if more than anything, I think it was harder for them when they were vegan because that's so much more restrictive.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean? It was and people thought that was crazy. People you think keto's great? People really thought you were crazy when you were vegan. But, I don't really care what people think.
Right?
I think whatever.
Your kids not to care.
Yeah.
Is huge. Because, them, and I'm so glad you said that. Educating your children.
Yeah.
Is super important. And people, they try to hide things from their kids. And I've seen on a lot of these Facebook groups, well, I don't want my daughter to think that there's bad foods and good foods. I do.
Yeah, there are bad foods.
There are very bad
poison.
Yeah. Bread is evil, regular bread. And I want them to know because I want them to have basically informed consent.
Yeah.
Because that's what we never had growing up. No. From the moment we were born, we were literally told, consume 60% of your calories as heart healthy grains.
Yep.
And stay away from saturated fat because it's going to kill you. Limit red meat. Eat as many fruits and veggies as you want. And there's a subset of people that can do that, but most of us can't. And we are so sick now because of that. And unprogramming our brains, I'm like, no, I want to program the kids right.
Yeah.
When they stray from it, they're going to come back to it because I can look at them and go, you know how to fix it.
Yeah. And that's what I keep telling myself too. It's like, if they can learn this stuff now, how much better off will they be instead of waiting 40 years like we have had to do to figure it out? I hope that they get this stuff now because then they will save themselves a world of physical, mental, emotional trouble. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's such a good thing. And for my parents to be on board and doing it so wholeheartedly too.
It's
like,
so huge.
People don't know my dad, but he is like super stubborn and very opinionated, and he's always going to do what he wants regardless. And I've seen a mental change in him going keto. Like, you know, he's just walking around like, I haven't weighed this in 15 years. I haven't been under this weight in 15 years. You know what I mean? That's life-changing. That's huge. He's so proud that he's off his high blood pressure medicine.
Yeah. Getting rid of the medications at their age, and they're what? 60, 70?
71.
Yeah. Nobody gets off of medications. And
no, they keep adding more and more on usually.
Exactly. Usually they have that grocery bag full of medications when they go to the store, you know? Yeah. So to do that is, especially for your dad, who is, like you said, very opinionated. I know your mom is more like, go with the flow. I'm going to go.
She went vegan with us. Like she'll do whatever. But for her, you know, she had done Summer Size for years. Suzanne Summers, which really has a lot of keto elements in it, other than she has like certain combinations of food you don't eat together. But, you know, no potatoes, no carrots, no corn, you know, there's a lot of similar things. So mom was kind of already like
halfway there
with it. Yeah. And her body does well. I mean, she's kept a majority of her weight off. Her problem is arthritis and like joint pain. And so I've heard from several different sources, like, you can't do keto for 30 days. You can't, you know, you need to do it for like 3 months to start seeing the actual, and it may even take longer than that, depending on how much damage your body has sustained and the repair that you have to do. So I keep reminding him, I'm like, guys, don't give up. Your aches and pains are coming down slowly. You're walking every day, you know, your legs and feet swelling is coming down, and it might take a year before you really start feeling amazing.
It took 70 to get here. You can't expect it to go away in a week.
No, exactly. So I'm feeling like, you know, we all are now, like, at first my dad was like, well, I'll do it for 30 days. And I'm like, I'll take it. I will take that. And now he's like, this is just what we do. This is how we eat. This is what we do, you know.
And that's,
I pray that he sticks with it, because I feel like it will just be so life-changing health-wise for both of them.
Yeah. And it really helps with not getting sick for a lot of people. Richard hasn't even had a sniffle in over 3 years. And every single year he would be almost hospitalized with pneumonia or bronchitis.
Oh yeah.
And he hasn't been sick since. I get a little sore throat and I'll get a little sniffle, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And so I figure that if for nothing else, the immune building properties are totally worth it.
It's so funny that you say that, because the kids were just at camp what's today? Friday.
Yeah.
Last week, I think.
Yeah.
And they were gone a whole 6 days. And, you know, camp food is camp food. It's full of carbs. It's full of sugar. It's full of dairy. It's full of all those things. And they did their best. Like, we talked about it, and I said, no, I'm not going to tell you can't eat stuff at camp. If there's ice cream and you want ice cream, have ice cream. Just be aware of how it's going to make you feel and make good choices, and have a tiny little bit. Don't have a huge bowl, you know? And they both came home sick from camp, and they were coughing and sniffling and not feeling good, super run down. Of course, no sleep.
Yeah.
Eating stuff that was not keto. They tried. They ate a lot of salad, you know, because they have salad like at every meal. But, you know, when it's a big old plate of pasta.
Yeah. What you get, I mean, you can pick out the meat.
Yeah.
And do that. But it's really tough, especially in those situations. And that's something that I'm sure they'll get more confident with over time.
And Melody did well, considering she was at camp like 5 weeks in a row. as a counselor, and she lost 6 pounds.
Yeah.
But she said she was super careful. You know, she limited her desserts to like 1 a week. That she picked one thing at camp that she wanted to eat. Like they did s'mores, and she wanted a s'more. That was it. She didn't have dessert at every meal. You know what I mean? And then she was also getting in like 15,000 steps a day. And I know that had to be part of it, but.
Exactly. Well, speaking of weird things, like, not getting sick, you told me something that I found absolutely astonishing, and I never made the connection, and I bet nobody else has either. Growing up, you're like, I don't have a clue. Growing up, you loved horror movies. You wanted to watch horror movies all the time, and I was the one that was like, I can't watch that. I can't watch that, and I could never handle it, so I just never really watched them. But you loved horror movies, and you told me like a week or two ago that you discovered something. So I want everyone to hear about this.
So after, going keto and my anxiety coming down so much, and I love to read scary books too. Horror novels, like, love it. And we started to watch a scary movie when the kids were gone, I think to camp or something. And about 10 minutes in, my anxiety just through the roof. And I looked at Lance and I was like, we have to turn this off. I cannot watch this. This is not good. And I had never thought about that, like the environmental things that you're experiencing that are causing anxiety on, so if you have the food on top of that, and then you're watching scary movies, and I mean, just listening to the news nowadays is enough in the last year to make anybody have anxiety. Just turn on YouTube and watch a couple of conspiracy things, and then you'll be like, oh. So, it was crazy. So I was like, well, now it's funny, like how you say, as you start detoxing, and you don't crave sugar anymore because you're not eating it, so you're not craving it. As you eliminate those things, even like horror movies, like you get rid of it, you detox that. Don't even put that stuff in your mind if it's going to cause anxiety, or it might be like angry music. I don't know. It could be different for other people, but just seeing how that kind of, it's like a big picture. Why would we separate this and our brain from the rest of our body? Yep. You know what I mean? It's all tied in. It's all connected. So I feel like it's helped me be more aware of my body and how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Dr. Georgia Eads says, if food can cause inflammation in the body, the last time I checked, the brain was a part of the body.
Yeah.
So it follows to think that maybe
it's
causing inflammation in the brain as well. And I think that there's a good potential that people are actually self-medicating with horror.
Yeah.
Because it's a distraction.
Yeah.
From the turmoil that you're already going through, you don't even realize. And so you're self-medicating by watching scary things and reading scary things. And so now you don't need that anymore. That's one more medication that you're off of.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. It's so, well, and I think because we're doing intermittent fasting as well. So we have our eating window from like 10 to 5 in the morning to 5 p.m.
Yeah.
So that has worked really well. Like we've got the system down, and the kids can kind of, if they need to eat a little more, they can get their own stuff. But I do breakfast and dinner, and the intermittent fasting, as we're doing that and stuff, I'm learning to listen to my body's hunger cues and fullness cues. And instead of eating so that I get too full, you know what I mean? It really has helped me dial in. So now as I'm eating keto and I'm slowing down, I'm listening to my body, because a lot of times my brain's like, hey, eat that keto thing. You can eat it. It's all right. It's keto. Eat it. Go ahead. And I'm like, no, I'm not hungry. I'm bored. I'm stressed. I'm anxious. I'm overwhelmed. I'm not hungry. My brain's just trying to go, here, have this. It'll distract you. same thing with the movies or the TV or whatever. And that, I feel like that was a huge part of the 75 hard that really helped me, because I've been reading out loud to my husband. We've read 3 books in 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And they're heavy lifting. They're not, they're psychology books. They're books about personal development. Atomic Habits we're reading. We just finished that one by James Clear. So good.
Mm-hmm.
But it's crazy how all that stuff ties in. Once you kind of get your system where your brain can actually think,
Mm-hmm.
Your brain is dying because it's not being fed.
Yeah.
And then when your brain starts working, like my memory is so much better, my recall, I don't get so scattered. I don't forget stuff. And like you say, you can actually sit down and read something that's a lot more complex, where 6 months ago, I'm like, no, I just want to watch The Office.
Yeah.
Or I just want to watch The Office and eat chips and not think about how messed up this world is.
Mm-hmm. Because it's going crazy. Oh my gosh. And we're getting sane while everyone else is going crazy. I'll take it.
I don't care. I'll be the one sane person.
Right. Exactly. Well, there'll be 2 of us now.
Yeah.
2 families, 2 sane families.
Yep.
So, you guys have discovered that Lance is having skin cancer issues again. And now you're learning more about how keto can actually help with that, because cancer feeds on sugar.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to stick a link down below in the description box for your GoFundMe page, so that if anyone wants to help donate to that, to getting
that would be amazing.
Healed, then that'll be available down below in the description box. But what have you heard or researched, or are you just starting with the cancer research and keto?
Well, they always say like you need a why. And we did keto in May for like a week, and then we quit and we gained all of our weight back, like 10 pounds that we lost or whatever. And then end of June, he had a cancer spot pop up on his shoulder, and it was pretty aggressive. And he was not feeling good. And it was like, that was our why to go keto. Because it was like, I know for a fact that his system is super acidic. He's drinking tons of coffee. We're eating tons of sugar. We're eating carbs. That is feeding that cancer. And it was getting worse. He also has a lot of dairy allergies. So we don't do a lot of dairy anyway. But he's always had, and he has treated successfully, naturally before cancer with a supplement. If you guys want information, I can link that if that's okay, if people want to know what he's actually using. But when we started, seeing this cancer be super aggressive, we're like, okay, keto we have to do it. There's no option. And I keep telling him, I'm like, even when your cancer's cleared up, we're going to be keto, because it's going to not allow it to grow anymore. You know what I mean? We want to cut it off at the source, and systemically from inside. The best way to do that is cutting out your sugar, cutting out your carbs, giving your body the fats that it needs, the protein that it needs. So the protocol that he's doing wants to include some fasting. So we've done some fasts here and there, like a bone broth fast. We're doing a ton of vitamins, vitamin C, and, I can't even tell you all the stuff. And we also have been pHing his, saliva to see where he's at. And since we've cut sugar and carbs and all that stuff, his pH has stayed right at 7, like 7.0. It's perfect, right where it should be. And cancer can't thrive or live in that environment. So, I'm watching a lot of videos, I'm reading about stuff, but I'm like, this is just how we have to be forever, because this is going to keep this under control, basically. Honestly, I'll tell you right now, like, I don't know how it's going to work out. I know that he's pulled 4 tumors out so far out of this hole in his shoulder. It's extremely painful. It's extremely, because it's kind of like this stuff is drawing the cancer out, almost like it's leaching it out through the hole. And it's so painful. And, you have ibuprofen. we don't want to do chemo and we don't want to do surgery and we don't want to do any of that stuff. And we've known and talked to people that have treated it this way. He's treated it this way before. But I do feel like this time is worse. And I do feel like this time it's taking a lot more out of him. He has, even being keto, because the first time we went keto, he had like unlimited energy. He was like the Energizer Bunny. He was working and running around. He felt so good, like literally the best he'd felt in forever. And then we quit, and then we went back on keto because of the health stuff. And he hasn't felt as good, but it's just because his body is working so hard to fight the cancer.
Yeah. And I've seen some things where people say, you know, I went keto, I was doing good, and then I fell off the wagon. Well, that fall off actually takes you back to where you were and beyond, way worse. And it accelerates the growth of cancer cells and things like that. And like your arteries, the calcification, the swelling, the inflammation, it'll take you back to where you were almost immediately and further. And so it makes sense that he's feeling so much worse this time because it probably had an explosion. So I will definitely down below, I'll link everything that you send me. And then I will put videos down there for people to understand how cancer works and how keto can help to combat it. And things like that, because everyone has cancerous cells in them. It's whether or not they take hold. And they continue to grow and
activated, whether they're activated or not.
Exactly. And there's so much that goes into it. Genetics, yes, absolutely has something to do with it. Environmental factors. How much estrogenic crap are you using? Are you cooking with plastic? And are you know, all of this stuff? What kind of shampoo and everything? Genetics is a big part of it, but there's so much that you can mitigate. To try to, you know, to bring it down. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. Environmental is just as important as diet.
Food.
And dairy can be very aggravating for cancer and things like that. So I know.
And that's in the protocol, that's actually one of the things. They're like, no dairy, no alcohol, no sugar, no grains, you know, very, very clean eating. And then I was going to mention too, I also found, we watched this great documentary about mushrooms and on Netflix, it's really fun. And this guy's mom was like 80 years old and she got cancer and they said, you know, go die. Basically, you're 80 years old. What are we going to do for you? And the son grows turkey tail mushrooms, which it's a supplement you can get at the health food store. And she started taking high doses of that and her cancer completely disappeared.
That's crazy.
So, you know, we're hitting it on many different levels with the nutrition, with the vitamins, with the mushroom supplements, with the salve that he's using. And I feel like, you know, obviously it's working because we're pulling tumors out.
He's pushing out tumors. I mean, that's really cool.
Not without having to go have surgery and without having to be on any kind of horrible drugs. So it is definitely, but man, is it exhausting. And
so
painful.
So this is one more reason for your kids to just
pivot
because, hey, it's genetic. You get it from dad. You want to stay safe? Stay over here on this side of the line.
Don't feed it. Don't feed cancer. Please. If that's the only thing anybody gets, please don't. You don't want to go through this.
No.
It's hard.
Absolutely. So prayers for Amber and her family while they're going through this. And like I said, I'll put everything down below in the show notes. So if y'all want to consider helping them or do more research into it, then you can look more into cancer. Just be aware. Everyone has the potential for that, especially with the way that we've been eating for the past, 70 years. Good Lord. But let me see. So I only have a couple questions left. What do you hope to accomplish with this interview? Because you actually offered. And so I was like, I was going to ask you anyways.
Well, I mean, I guess I had no idea how much anxiety was impacting me. And so now it's like you say, once you just have to tell people because you love people and you want them to be well and you want them to be healthy and to not have pain. And So I feel like it would be really kind of awful of me if I didn't say, hey, this is what happened. Like, this is how I'm feeling. This is the results I'm seeing. It is a slow process. Like, I feel like 6 weeks for 25 pounds or so, that's a nice, I don't want to lose too fast, because then I've lost fast before in the past, and it usually comes right back because I stopped doing what I was doing, and then it just comes back. So if I can show people, you can do this, and you can do it for your whole family, and you can all do it together and support each other and encourage each other. And if it helps even somebody get off of like an anxiety med or a high blood pressure medicine, or, just knowing that there's other options out there, you don't have to just go and get your cancer cut out and do chemo. There are other options. There's other ways to treat it. And so I hope that encourages people that are in a bind or in a bad health situation, because it's life-changing.
No, absolutely. That's absolutely perfect. So the one question that I ask everyone that I have for an interview is potentially the most important question ever. Do you drink coffee? And if you do, how do you take it?
Of course I drink coffee. You know this, but no one else does. So I drink it black right now because we're not doing dairy. When I can drink dairy again, or when I choose to, which for now I'm just like, whatever. I love me some heavy whipping cream and some grass-fed butter and some MCT oil, and blend that sucker up. And oh my gosh. Yeah.
I recommend when people do that, I'm like, do a dessert. Drink that as a dessert coffee. So and then it's not, your replacement eggs in the morning, which is not activating your saliva. It's like if you drink it after you've had your meal, it is your dessert, then all of your hormones are already going. You've got your leptin and your ghrelin in the right area. So when you drink it, it's not going to totally fool your body. And
for sure. So we love our coffee, and Lance is lamenting no coffee right now, but
it's for a season. I am believing that it is just for a season, and he's going to be able to bring it back, and he is going to be healed, and it's going to be amazing.
Yes.
So advice for anybody who is hesitant to do this because of their family, who wants to take their parents, their kids, themselves, any advice you can give as a newcomer?
Man, honestly, like, I'm kind of an all or nothing person. So if I'm going to do something, I'm all in. I'm going to do it all the way. I know that is not everybody. And so don't feel like you have to go through your pantry and throw away all your food and go buy a whole bunch, because who can afford to do that? You know what I mean? But if you start with the mindset change of like, I'm not going to buy any more of that stuff, and I'm going to buy eggs and bacon, and I'm going to, and just like, for somebody, if you can't just go cold turkey and switch 100%, start, like, if you're drinking 10 Diet Cokes a day, cut back to 1. Like, that's a huge improvement. If you're eating out fast food 6 times a week, cut it back to 1 time a week. Make it manageable in little steps, because if you just cut everything off and you're too like, oh, this is what we're doing, and I'm never doing this again, and I'm going to work out 3 hours a day, and you're not going to stick to that. There's no way. The only way you're going to stick to it is if you make manageable changes.
No,
and don't punish yourself. It's not a punishment. Food should not be, and it shouldn't be. It should be something to fuel your body so that you can perform well.
It's not a reward. It's not a punishment. It is just fuel.
Yeah.
Nope. Absolutely. Well, that was absolutely wonderful. I'm sure we've probably gone on far long enough for everybody. So thank you so much. And I will stick your information down below so that if anyone, I will text you. Whatever you want me to put on there, I will put on there, so that if anyone wants to reach out, maybe someone else has some advice and they've been through cancer with keto, and they, have something that they can help you with. I will let y'all know down below how you can contact her. So thank you so much for doing this. And I cannot wait to see how things progress and how things get even better from here on out.
Yep.
So that was my interview with my cousin Amber. Everything that we talked about is going to be down below in the show notes. Please do all of the things. And thanks so much for joining us today. And I hope that you've learned something, whether it be encouraging or educational, either one. Anyways, thanks so much guys for stopping in, and we'll see you on the way. Bye.